York. Hey, Unique New York. How are you? We're here with Dr. Matthew Perry, not Matthew Perry from Friends. Sorry, folks, in case you got here hoping for that. How often do you get that, Matt?
Just about once a day.
Just about. There's your one for the day, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, right?
Hopefully. So tell us a little about where you're at, who you are, why people should care, and then we'll jump into it.
Because this is important stuff, y'all. Nah, my name's Dr. Matthew Perry, owner and operator of Autoness Therapies. I'm a private physical therapist. I specialize in severe accident recovery, general rehabilitation, sports rehab, and persistent pain conditions. You guys should care because we're talking about some interesting stuff today about pain and all of that. You know, we have a very, very poor relationship with it, right? As a whole, especially in America. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yeah, man. That was good. It's like you practiced that once or twice.
Nah,
That little elevator pitch.
just flies off the tongue now. Oh yeah, but I am in San Diego, California.
Yes, that was my next question.
Yeah, more specifically Scripps Ranch, central San Diego area.
Nice. Very cool. And yeah, we connected through a mastermind group, and I was able to come down there because I'm a little bit north of you, about 40 minutes north. So we were able to connect. We would have done this live, but trying to be careful. My wife and I are quarantining a little bit more aggressively just because we're going to see her best friend who happens to be pregnant, and we just want to be extra careful. We got an extra COVID test yesterday. Results TBD. Have you gotten the vaccine?
One of two. So
okay,
my next
there you
one
go.
will be I think next week actually. So how about yourself?
Not yet. And yeah, don't know when that's happening, but we're just trying to live healthy, man. We're just trying to boost the immune system, all the other fun ways, and avoid people. It's been good avoiding people. We don't like people most of the time, so
Just our patience.
Just the patience, exactly. If we're fixing them, we don't mind. And again, my business right now is 98% virtual. I only see very few people in person, and again, those are folks I kind of know, trust, and familiar with, and have had some conversations with. So yeah, the vaccine's a very interesting thing. We'll see how that develops over the next few weeks and months. But yeah, definitely.
And, you know, it really is interesting, man. You know, we are seeing a lot of people are seeing this vaccine as a cure-all, right? Like, COVID's over after I get this thing.
Right. No.
Just a tool, man. It's just a tool.
And not to cut you off, but every flu season that you get, you know, the vaccine is usually like, I mean, it might be doing something. I don't know the statistics on it, but I generally avoid it because they're kind of guessing at what the next flu strain is. So, and we're seeing new COVID strains develop and things like that. So yeah, it's we are not epidemiologists, folks. So do not completely go off of us. But if you believe in science, you know, we're happy to go down that path. But anyway, we're here to talk about muscles and joints and tendons and ligaments and pain. So we're going to jump into pain as our first topic here. And pain being, tell us about pain. What do you think? We want to talk about it being a normal part of the rehab process. You're coming to see us generally in that rehab process because of some pain. So yeah, tell us what your feelings are on that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, not to sugarcoat it, the reason why most people come and see a physical therapist or a movement person is because of pain, right? So with pain, we need to understand that I think one of my colleagues, Dr. Matthew Zanis, put it perfectly. It is nothing but information, right? It is nothing but an input. Okay, sometimes that could be an accurate input, like, you know, ouch, this hurts because I've torn something. But, you know, a lot of times it can be in response to just some general mechanics issues, some things, you know, your body's talking to you being like, you know, ouch, ouch, ouch. It starts getting louder and louder as you let it persist, right? You know, a really good example is the Blue Angels. I know they got the Blue Angels up in LA area too, flying over, right, Bo?
I'm not in LA. I'm in Dana Point, but
Dana Point area.
We're by Camp Pendleton, so we get all the military things. There were definitely some UFOs yesterday, by which I mean I don't know what the heck they were. I could not identify them, but they were flying objects, and I was like, I thought they were like paratroopers or whatever. But no, they were just kind of hanging out there. They were these little things. I didn't look on our. If you do, you guys have one of those like unplugged? We have Dana Point Unplugged, and what's the other one? Next Door. Yeah. Everyone's like, did you guys see the thing? And like, what's happening on this street? And like, there's usually the nosy people, and everyone just kind of wants to know what's going on. But I didn't see. Those were a little weird. I'm like, but I'm 99% sure it was just something at Camp Pendleton. There were some military things. It was weird.
Or something like that. Weird. That is strange. But the Blue Angels. Most people know about the Blue Angels, right? They fly over, they fly real low. Do their little twists and turns and stuff like that. Okay, we have our car alarms, right? Our car alarms are designed to go off if someone's breaking into our car, right? Yeah. Ideally, they're trying to flip our car, whatever the case is. So when the Blue Angels fly over, guess what? All of the car alarms go off. Right. Most of them anyways, right? Is that in response to the proper stimulus? Is anyone breaking into your car? No. So that's how I kind of like to equate pain, right? It can be due to a proper stimulus or an improper stimulus.
Yeah. I mean, the saying that I've been going off for a while is listen to the whispers before they become yells. I think that's in line with what you're saying. And unfortunately, when we get most folks, when we get some whispers of like, oh, like I did a workout and my shoulder's a little sore or what have you, like it's very tough as a general human being to know what is too much or what is like you said, the proper stimulus. And like, okay, yeah, like I did a workout yesterday. I did a CrossFit workout that I hadn't done in a little while. And this morning I woke up and I had that observation of like, oh, okay, like I feel it. I'm aware that I did a workout, but it wasn't a negative, painful stimulus per se. So that's that difference and starting to understand and be able to communicate with patients. I also do some nutrition coaching and things like that. For me, similar to, I think, what we're going to talk about here is it's about creating independence in that patient. And this takes me to your the statement you said the last time we had a little bit of a recording like this when I came down and visited you was we want to put ourselves out of business, right? And so tell us what that means to you and like and yeah, creating that and where your name comes from of your business.
Yeah, great question. So Autonest Therapies, committed to your autonomy, happiness, and wellness. The whole purpose of my company is to teach, empower, and resolve, right? In order for people to get better, you need to understand really what's going on with you, right? Both Bo and I are teachers, first and foremost before anything else. So if we can explain to you exactly what's going on, you have a much higher likelihood, and the research I'm sure supports this, of actually following through with the program and achieving your optimal results. Am I right in that, Bo?
Yeah, so it's the why, right? Like if you're grounded into your why, and the why being, and this is where, again, it becomes a little more tricky to have these conversations and where the traditional physical therapy setting, the insurance model, which we were talking about a little bit before we got on live here, it's tough to do that in that setting where, it's all about getting you out of pain much faster. And the why isn't really relevant. It's I have shoulder pain or I can't lift my arm up past 90 degrees or what have you. It's important to connect back to the why of, hey, like I want to surf. Like I'm passionate about surfing and that brings me joy. And it's going to keep me physically fit. And because of this pain, I'm not able to do that. So if we have that very close connection, versus again, to your point of like whispers, like, well, I can still go surfing. It doesn't hurt that bad. And now we're talking about it becoming more of a problem down the line that we're just, the analogy I like to use there is you're driving with the emergency brake on, right? So like eventually you're going to wear down your brakes and your brake pads. And so that's where, again, the mechanics here, and I've heard a few people talk about, PTs, movement experts, like you said, being the mechanics of the body, where we can look at, how are your brake pads? How are your wheels aligned? All that stuff. So, but yeah, to your point is the whys. And again, you can ask 5 whys. So if someone comes to me and says, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds, what's the best way to do that? Or my favorite is the fastest way to do that. I say, well, the fastest way is cut off your arm and you'll lose all the weight you want. Just to, how much do you want to lose to decide where you want to cut it off. And again, I don't mean to make light of that, but people are looking for that quick fix. And so it's saying, well, yeah, why 20 pounds? Why not 19? Why not 21? And again, like, what is losing that weight really going to do for you? And if it's just a matter of like, my doctor told me I'm unhealthy, like, it seems like the right thing to do. That's not as likely to get you to your goal as like, this is very important for me. When I wake up, I'm setting up my entire day. Like, I'm willing to do whatever you tell me. So give me that, if I jump on one foot and touch my nose 17 times, like, you're telling me that's okay, I'm going to do it because I trust you. And like, it's that important to me that I'm willing to do what it's going to take. Unfortunately, again, there is no great blueprint laid out for most people. It's eat less, exercise more is usually the like, we're going to go to weight loss a little bit here, but it's about, again, coming back to those whys. So again, I don't know if you're familiar with the 5 whys in personal training and motivational interviewing, but basically, yeah, like, well, okay, tell me about your goal. You want to lose 20 pounds. So why do you want to lose 20 pounds? Okay, well, you want to look better naked. Okay, great. Well, why is that? You want to attract a better mate because you're single right now. Okay, well, you need more confidence. Like, you go down this path, and now we're getting into childhood trauma and things like that. So it's also important that we have these referral networks and things like that. So we said we were going to be tangential before. Here we are. We've tangentialized. I'm very good at tangentializing, and I like saying that word.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's perfect and very, very well said, right? It's that extrinsic versus, intrinsic motivation, right? Why do you want to lose that weight? Oh, well, like, my husband keeps harping on me. Why my wife keeps harping on me saying it. Versus, hey, I truly want to be a healthier individual, right?
Right.
And
I want to be there for my granddaughter's wedding or stuff like that really motivates you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, circling back, like, that's the whole part of teaching someone what's going on. Hey, you're in pain because when you elevate your shoulder, guess what? You shrug a lot. That causes some impingement and things like that. That is the simple why. All that. A great American posture. That's a great American posture.
So you mentioned being uncomfortable or pain being a normal part of the rehab process, since we were coming back to pain. So I think we were talking about the car alarm analogy. So so I know when I work with, let's say, tendon rehab, and I'm doing this all virtually, and I'm not there to say, oh, like, that's a little too much. So we have those conversations, and I'm trying to empower the client patient on what is a 0 to 10, which is like the best way we have of measuring this subjective thing. And again, a 7 out of 10 pain for me might be very different than a 7 out of 10 pain for you. But at the end of the day, those are they're equal, the way we think about it. So when I'm working with them, I say, you're allowed, because we're dealing with tendon pain specifically. And if we've diagnosed that or we're on the same page of understanding that, we have to educate, like you said, we're teachers, of saying, I don't want you to go above a 5 out of 10 as we go through this squat pattern. And we're going to load it in a way that if there's too much pain, if it goes above a 5 out of 10, that's too much. If it's a 4 out of 10, that's actually a good thing, because we want to be able to, again, retrain the brain, get confidence, get power over that kind of stimulus, like you're saying. And again, if you want to get back to squatting, which I get a lot of folks who do, whether it's through CrossFit, Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting, what have you, and they've, again, been driving with that emergency brake on for a while, and it's time to release that emergency brake so they can get back to smooth sailing. We do need to have that conversation about what is normal pain. And unfortunately, it's hard to have those conversations until somebody's been through injections and through chiropractors and through other PTs and all this stuff. So yeah, so tell me, I don't know if there's any parallels there on your philosophy or how you work with folks.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. We as cash-based physical therapists, end up being the end of the line for a lot of people. They've been there, done that. They haven't had the proper attention, or just they're not the right modalities, whatever the case is, to get to where to where they need to be. So, when they come to me, someone who works with a lot of persistent pain, we have to qualify and quantify what this pain is. Is this good pain? Is this bad pain? Because someone and I have persistent back pain myself that I've been working on.
Hold on. What is when you say good pain? Are you talking about that like 4 out of 10? That's normal in this process? What do you mean by
Yeah,
good
yeah.
pain?
So for instance, you working out, feeling sore the next day. Someone coming in and seeing me, and we're
But,
working on glute pain, that kind of
right,
stuff. That's good pain. That 4 out of 10 exactly is good pain.
right. But
Uh,
to your
yeah,
point, I don't even like when I say sore. I specifically say soreness because it's not pain, because it's not So I think it's important to have that distinction. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, is it soreness? Is it a little bit achy, or does it hurt? Right. And if it does hurt, what type of hurt is that? Because that can also give us information. Um,
And
the
I'll Go ahead.
Yeah, so no,
I was gonna jump in with saying pain science overall is not to add confusion to this, because I think we're trying to clarify a few things. But there's these pain science conferences, and you have folks who are kind of all over the place on what the science says. And again, research on this stuff is difficult because it's qualitative, so it's not enough to say. Again, we can measure 0 to 10 pain, but it's very different than saying, again, yeah, we don't know what worked. We put needles into your arm and you were able to go 10 degrees further. So quantitative research is much easier, right? Versus qualitative, which is also why nutritional science is not great, because it's very difficult to step away from and just do observational studies. So
yes,
when it comes to pain science, what I want to say is it's a very, you can go into any of these forums and you can have, again, 100 physical therapists or chiropractors or whatever profession, and they're all arguing with each other. And it's either going to be like a 50-50 split, or you're going to have 100 different opinions. It could go either way. And so you get these camps of what's the right way to treat pain. And at the end of the day, too, that's where, we need to be out there saying, this is my philosophy. This is how I want to work with you. And if that connects with the patient, there is significant benefit to that. I'm not, I don't want to say I'm anti-chiropractor by any means, but it's certainly frustrating for me to talk to somebody about their back pain and say, well, here's how I work. And, at the end of the day, if they don't like that concept of like, oh, I'm going to do a 12-week program where I'm going to get stronger, and like, it's going to be these marginal gains and we're going to keep in contact, like, because not everyone wants that. They're more happy with, I have my chiropractor and I go see him anytime I have a little flare up, and he gives me a crack and it feels better. And, it's not solving the thing, but they're not looking for a solve. Their solve is like, okay, I'm going to pop a Tylenol every single time I have any kind of pain. But I think, have seen that down the line, and maybe it's 10 years down the line, maybe it's 20 years down the line, that, that it blows up, so to speak. And then it's like, well, do you need surgery and things like that? So, there's the right way to do things, and then there's less or more risky ways to do it. So anyway, I have all sorts of other tangents that takes me down, but I'll come back to you.
Yeah. But that goes back to, ouch, pain, that's bad, right? And I think pharmaceutical companies do a great job here in America to instill that in us, right? Oh, do you have a little bit of a twinge somewhere? Oh, we can make that go away. You know what I mean? Do you have any kind of discomfort? Oh, take this. So you can totally do that, but what are you doing? You are masking the pain.
Right.
If you're going to get any kind of other modalities, chiropractic, acupuncture, all that kind of stuff, that is all good and good for you. However, what else are we doing to supplement when you're not on the table, right? And so I know a lot of chiropractors who are, kind of diving into a little bit of the exercise stuff. I mean, hey, that's totally cool. But, it's all about the lens of what we're doing this for. I also work with a lot of patients who also utilize chiropractors, and we're part of the team, right? They get their, kind of neuro reset. And then I'm going, now that they can move better, now we take it to the next level,
Right.
that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it's all about, kind of going back to what I was saying, both qualifying and quantifying what is going on with them. Because again, the persistent pain thing, man, for my back pain, for the longest time before I was a physical therapist, it motivated me to get into physical therapy school to help treat myself. It was like, oh, well, like, does it hurt? Yeah, it hurts the same all the time.
Right.
Well, does it actually hurt all the time? Well, no, like, in the mornings. Okay, well, now we're getting there. What kind of hurt? Oh, it's like a stiffness. Oh, so it's stiffness and not really pain.
Mm.
Peeling back that onion, right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of layers to the onion for sure. And I wanted to bring up that another analogy. I love my analogies of what we're talking about again. That kind of massage can help, acupuncture can help, chiropractic, all those different modalities can help. But to me, like you're saying, my analogy there is again, you're putting some money into your bank account, but we need that financial advisor or I'm not a good financial guy, but we need that person to say, hey, put this money in GameStop, which might be a short-term thing, but we're just going off the time. So if you're listening or watching to this, months from now and you don't know what GameStop is, that happens. But if you're watching live, you're going to know what that means. But the point is of again, taking those games and again, however you got your extra $1,000, put in your bank account, say, hey, I'm going to take 500 of that and invest it. And I'm going to get 8% on that for the next, 20 years. And that's the best use of that money. That's kind of where I see us boring PT saying, hey, let's do a few of these clamshells, let's do these glute bridges, let's get you in the habit of breathing better. And these boring things that like, oh, I didn't realize I'm taking 23,000 breaths a day. And they're all like up here. And that's what we're talking about is you're reinforcing that loop of pain and or dysfunction. And again, like then back to that pain science debate, I go into some of these chats and some folks are like, well, all you're doing is scaring people and telling them they have all these dysfunctions. So someone walks in, they're saying I have shoulder pain, and they're walking out with this list of like 20 things that's wrong with them. So there's all these balances. And that's where, again, it continues to be this refining of a relationship that you have with the patient and a relation and which direction do we want to take this conversation? So, takes me to our second point that you kind of wanted to talk about of you are not your MRI. So I think that, again, in terms of pain science, it's everyone's looking for that. Oh, let me do an MRI. Okay, it says I have a torn labrum. And that explains my pain. And unfortunately, fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it, the science does not support that because most imaging, and this is the research I'll bring up and then I'll let you rock with it, is shows that there's very little correlation between degeneration or any kind of abnormality on imaging, and there's very little correlation to pain and what the actual function is of a human. So yeah, I think that I'll let you run from there.
Yeah, no, this is something I'm really passionate about because, to this day, I have never seen somebody who's gotten an X-ray or an image of any kind that, didn't say you're fine. It never says you're fine. It always says you got something somewhere, right? Whether that's even in the area you have pain or not, who knows? But you're absolutely right, Bo. Like there are some research studies now coming out, thankfully, talking about, hey, this shoulder hurts, and they take an, MRI, X-ray, whatever the case is, find some degeneration, find some issues. The shoulder that doesn't hurt sometimes is even more messed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important to understand that this is the image is a brief moment in time, right? We have no idea of when this could have happened, right? You could have had degeneration in your shoulder since you were 15. You're 60 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You're just feeling pain now, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, how do we get you functioning better so you don't have pain? I'm never going to change the degeneration, but if you can live a healthy lifestyle for the rest of your life, who cares what they find on the autopsy?
Right.
Oh wow, he had like horrible knee degeneration or shoulder.
Right.
Like I never had pain there.
Yeah, and I'll add in a couple of the major overseeing national organizations have actually, medical wise, have actually requested that clinicians not use the term degenerative disc disease and that concept of degeneration because it's very mentally problematic for the patient to hear degenerative. It's a scary word. But it's another analogy I'll use there is okay, I have some wrinkles going on here. Does that mean there should be some pain here? Like it's degeneration to some extent. Or if I have gray hairs or I'm balding or whatever it is, like those are signs of aging. And again, they're considered normal. No one's like, or very rarely. Sometimes I look at folks and I'm like, I see a lot of grays going on. You're a pretty stressed out human being. maybe we should have a conversation about some other things. But yeah, again, like it's about, again, the nuance, which we tend to lose. But yeah, degenerative disc disease. I want to double down on the fact that if you have that diagnosis out there, if anyone's told you that, not only is it something that, again, it's almost pushing on the bounds, and I'll be very careful in how I say this, but it's pushing on the bounds of being like medical malpractice to use that language, and to just put people out there. You're, again, doing more medicine. We're supposed to do no harm. So by saying you have degenerative disc disease and, like, you know, good luck, or take this medication, that to me is doing more harm than good, versus saying, I want to figure out a way to empower you. Yes, we did the imaging. And again, did we even need to do the imaging? That's another conversation. But we need to figure out how to go from, you know, here's this. And again, I see a lot of articles, and I've been asked to editorialize and things through different blogs and things like that. And a lot of times I'm like, nobody's recommending that this person go and get stronger, or this person move better. It's like somebody who doesn't speak proper English, and we're like, we want to put them into the workforce, but they don't have all the proper tools. So, like, you need a GED at a minimum to show that you have the basic competence to then go and work in even a McDonald's or whatever. And so the same thing for movement. We need to look at your movement literacy and say, and that's our third point. I'm jumping ahead, pretty good transitions, not really, but I don't know. But, you know, do you have, and is that the thing that we're talking about that's going to help you get empowered, get confidence, and then break through this degenerative disc disease concept by learning how to hinge better, learning how to squat better? So yeah, that was the third point. So you were mentioning, yeah, moving better, and how do you incorporate that once somebody's done with and out of pain? It's not over, right? Okay, great, you hit that outcome, you want it to be out of pain, but yeah, how do you take folks through that next phase, that continuity, that maintenance, or what have you?
Yeah. Well, you know, I think that's one of the things that really separates, you know, us as, you know, cash-based PTs, you know, from big box physical therapy clinics, right? In a big box clinic, not knocking them, there's a time and a place for them. But, you know, if your back hurts and you can now barely walk again for a half mile or whatever, that's considered a success in big box, you know, PT, right? Oh, cool. They can walk a little bit, they're good. Bye. You know, that's just a floor for me and you, right? You know, that is just the beginning. I don't want to just see you be able to walk a little bit. I want to see you be able to walk through Disneyland again without pain, and you know, play with your kids and lift and not be afraid to live life anymore.
Right.
You know, and so I think that's a real big disconnect in healthcare. And, you know, you and I are definitely changing that, right?
That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah. So we get you, you know, we get you on a thing. You're not seeing, you know, you're not seeing us 1 or 2 times a week or anything like that. Maybe it's just some wellness check-ins, right? You know, 1 or 2 times a month, but to make sure your movement literacy, or like I call it movement hygiene, you know, is not only optimal, but the fact that you can keep accelerating beyond that, right? You are squatting 20 pounds. Now you can squat 40, 60, 80, right?
Right. It's funny. I just wrote the word optimal on my little paper here right before you said it. So there's something going on here. So what I was going to say there, and so this is the term capacity, right? But I'll go back to my financial analogy, because I think that applies here. Of, again, the traditional model says, hey, you've lost your basic, like, you need whatever, there is a number, and I apologize for not knowing this, of like the basic minimum finances you need to live, right? So whatever, if it's $20,000 a year, and I think there is like an actual measure, I think it's somewhere in there. But let's say, again, you're below that number by having this pain. You know, that's the analogy, right? So now, okay, you're only at $10,000. Through the insurance model, we've gotten you back to $20,000, right? And so you have the bare minimum to live and to do your ADLs, but you're not thriving. It's not optimal. So that's where we come in and say, hey, like, we want to get you to $100,000, right? Like, and we know how to do that. And that's the big difference again. And then I also use the when people talk to me about blood work, right? So, you know, for vitamin D is one I'm very familiar with, D3 specifically, that's gotten a lot of press with COVID and everything. It's one that most Americans, most humans in the world, again, even when I was in Dubai, where it's the desert and there's sunshine every day and it's 120 degrees 6 months out of the year. They were all most folks there are still very deficient in vitamin D because you're still covering up, you're putting on sunblock, and there needs to be a balance of, at some point we're blocking out like nature, and it's not good for our bodies. So without going down that path too much, common versus normal, again, I don't want to be in the normal range. I want to be in the optimal range. So when they tell me my vitamin D3, the normal range is like 20 to 50, right? But they've shown that, you know, you're going to live longer, you're going to perform better if you're at like 60, right? So, you know, it's interesting. And again, somebody's at 21 and you know, the doctor's like, okay, you're good. You're in the normal. It's like, you got so much more to go, just like your lifting bit of capacity. So yeah, if you can squat with 20 pounds, is it important that we get you to squat with 200 pounds? Maybe, maybe not. Again, when I talk to women who want to be pregnant or have been pregnant and want to get pregnant again or want to carry their babies, like, if you have the capacity to carry 200 pounds, you know, if you're able to walk with it, like, that's showing you have this physical fitness. That fitness to me, and my whole brand is redefining what fitness means. So if we can say, you know, and get you towards performance and fitness again, and redefining fitness, so you can carry 200 pounds. Now, when you're pregnant and you have extra weight on you, your legs are strong enough, your body is strong enough to handle that even better, to be more resilient, to be prepared for, you know, again, I'll take CrossFit's term of being prepared for the unknown and unknowable. But that is what fitness should be, is you can walk into the gym and be like, hey, what are we doing today? Okay, we're going to jump rope and we're going to walk on our hands and we're going to do all this stuff. And it looks crazy. We're going to flip tires. And is that all necessary? No, but if we can put it together and continue to track your vitamin D levels, your degenerative disc disease, all these different things that we're talking about, if we're moving all those things in the right direction and you are getting more confidence out of it, Matthew Perry of Friends, not Friends, no. Can't help it. I can't help it. If it's from the same person, though, it's like
the count.
I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that ramble I just went on, but I mean, that's, I think, where we're both very passionate and excited, and again, like, so yeah, I guess I'm curious, maybe this is where we take it, unless you had some other thought you wanted to jump in with, and I'm just cutting that off. But what types of measurements are you using? You're inside of a CrossFit gym, yes?
Yeah, it's actually a functional fitness gym.
Okay, we got rid of the name. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no affiliate or anything like that.
Was that because of the whole?
I know, when everyone jumped ship.
Yeah.
No, I was it was never affiliated. Functional fitness, it's always been, you know, the owner of that gym, my practice is separate, although I work inside, never want to be constrained.
Gotcha.
You know, never wanted to have to do stuff. You know, and you know, getting to your point, like, is it important for every human being to be able to snatch 225 pounds? Probably not. You know, do we need basic overhead movements? Do we need to be able to lift some kind of weight overhead? Absolutely, right?
Yeah, you might not need the 225 pounds, but showing that basic minimal capacity there.
Yes,
that's optimal. Is, yeah, again, if I can snatch 45 pounds with an empty barbell, so to speak, and having the required, you know, range of motion with my shoulders, with my hips, with my knees, those are all correlates to, again, a greater amount of fitness that should carry over to more health and being able to avoid the healthcare system.
Oh, 100%, man. And, you know, I loved the thought of the person who wants to become pregnant, being able to carry, you know, 200 pounds, right? That is functional for that person, 100%, man. Because, you know, when you talk about torque and physics and all that kind of stuff, that's probably the extra load that's good and placed on the, you know, on the low back during that time. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, I think if I'm understanding your question right about like metrics and stuff, you know, it is looking how you perform, not only in the areas that you feel like you need to, but us thinking outside the box and getting you to other areas of functional fitness, right? Okay, cool. You can do a proper barbell deadlift. Well, what happens when I put you in a Romanian deadlift, right? Straight leg deadlift. Does it fall apart? Can you maintain it? Because that's function, right? If I can put you in any position and you can maintain, your musculature without pain, we're good,
Yeah. Can you adapt to a strongman sandbag and find a way to do that? And that's the other part too. Similar to what my analogy on the English language is, it's hard to know every single word ever and the definition of it, but you start to put pieces together, and the better versed you are in general, you can then start to again be in different situations and like, oh, I'm not sure what that word means, but I recognize that like placid is a word that means calm, and so when you say placidity, like it might be a word I didn't understand initially, but now I'm able to put those pieces together, and so then again, having this bigger vocabulary of movement, whether it's a flat back during a barbell deadlift, and then again the adaptability to switch to a straight leg and all these different things. Most folks are so far from having those pieces together, and that's where again a system, functional fitness system, group classes, things like that certainly have moved the needle forward for a lot of folks in improving whatever we want to call it, fitness or movement literacy. And so I think that's the cool thing with what's been going on, and it's been very interesting to see how it's transferred to this online model that we've all kind of had to adapt to, and luckily for me, I've been doing that for a while. So
ahead of the game. There you go.
Yeah, so I've been doing that for a couple of years, and so it's been interesting to adapt to it and see where a lot of folks are trying to quickly pivot because they were forced to during COVID. And again, you've mostly stayed in person though, right?
Yeah. Yep. I was fortunate enough, with all the restrictions and stuff, physical therapy remained essential, and I was able to kind of do my thing. So,
but the gym itself is not essential.
Correct. The gym had to move out.
Ironically.
I know, right? And going back, actually, maybe we get full circle with the whole COVID thing, man. With the vaccine thing being just a tool, like no one's talking about fitness,
Right.
no one's talking about fitness as a great prognosticator to see if you're going to actually experience some real symptoms from COVID, right?
Right.
We talk about the vaccine just trying to move past it.
Mhm.
Sorry, that's probably for
No.
another
I think that's
conversation.
huge, and again, like Joe Rogan being the ultimate bro or whatever that he gets the reputation of, but he I'll give him tons of credit because he's one of the few people who has a huge audience and is out there saying like no one, and again, I don't know why the government and Dr. Fauci and again all sorts of different whatever political stuff, but at the end of the day, why are we not saying like eat better, eat less inflammatory foods? Like we've seen this huge correlation between vitamin D3 and how it affects, if you're deficient in vitamin D3, that's going to increase or mess up your survivor rates of getting COVID. So, and then on top of that, that's the tricky thing too, is like, how do we define fitness? And it is so far from, and this is why my brand is Fit Care, is if you care about your fitness, you can avoid healthcare. And so that's the whole thing. And so Joe Rogan's out there preaching like, eat better, sleep better, stress better, meditate, there's these huge conversations about different drugs that again are allowing people to work past trauma. And there's this taboo around drugs and things like that. That's taken us down all sorts of tangents. But there's all sorts of books and podcasts that we could certainly refer you guys out to. But yeah, at the end of the day, is how do we define fitness is still not agreed upon. And I'm sure if you and I went down that path, we could come up with a similar definition. Again, being anywhere near a functional fitness space, I think it opens up what our definitions might be. But I think we've touched on it already of capacity. Like if you have more capacity, the ability to deadlift 200 pounds, and that's a very single measure, but that's already showing me you have a lot more capacity. And so if you do, and that keeps you further away from disease on the other end of the spectrum. So more capacity, I'm doing the wrong thing with the camera here, but for those watching, but more capacity leads to more buffer. Similar to our financial analogy, if you have $1 million in savings, yep. But if you have $1 million in savings, and we saw this again, unfortunately, play out in not analogy form, but in folks who got locked down during COVID and had whatever savings they had, and they were no longer able to make money. And how long did you have to survive? So how much savings do you have? That's where I try to analogize it to physical savings. If you have that capacity, if you have this ability to run a half marathon or whatever, you have a certain amount of, vital capacity of lung capacity. So, and that's going to lower the longer you don't participate and push that kind of envelope. So I'm definitely rambling. I'll let you bring it back for us. So
No, man. No, you hit some really good points, man. And I think the big take home message is, like, you need a team. If you want to move well, if you want to live long, you need a team. You know what I mean? LeBron James pays a whole lot of people a whole lot of money to make sure that he is still doing the things he needs to do, right? Nutrition, fitness, all that kind of stuff, right? We don't all need to do it to that regard, but could he probably be pretty good and probably is still amazing without a team? Yeah, but he is way better with a team,
and he's going to last longer. And we're seeing it with a guy like Tom Brady, who's playing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, what is he, like 65, 70 now?
65 years old. We're joking, of course, but it seems like it. But, there's been statistics thrown out there. Like, yeah, again, some of these guys spend over $1 million a year on their physical health and their fitness. So obviously they are coming into it. LeBron in high school, without all that, was already a superstar and everyone saw the talent and things like that. But then it's, saying, how do I take you from that and continue to, the normal career again for football players, and the joke there, I don't know if you ever heard, is NFL not for long. So how do you remain longer in that sport and perform at a high level? And so again, all the haters, I'm a Jets fan from New York. So, Tom Brady's not my favorite person, but from a human perspective, from a human optimization performance perspective, is one of the more interesting things we've seen. And I think we're going to see anytime soon. And this, again, I'm not trying to push this TB12 thing. I don't even still fully understand what it is, but I like some of the concepts that he's talking about, at least from what I've seen. He talks about pliability. And so again, if the needs of my sport are, some 300-pound lineman's going to smash into me. I want my body to be able to adjust to that, to adapt to that the same way. Again, if we're talking about another global pandemic coming in a lockdown, like how can I better prepare myself for that to, be able to adapt to something like that, where, it's easy to go online and start belly aching and yelling about the government and we should, recall the governor and what have you. But like, are you taking care of your own stuff?
What are we personally doing, right?
What are we personally doing? And what are we pushing the right message of, again, like fitness, man? Like fitness is do some push-ups, do some squats, move better. Like you said, it requires a team. So that was the point you were going off of. And for sure, but
it's so, important to have people like us in your corner, right? And I'm not saying it has to be me, it has to be Bo. We have our specific skill sets, but having people who understand this stuff in your corner to keep you moving as long as humanly possible. Well,
yeah, and when I start working with folks, I'm talking about changing your environment, changing your bedroom, little things that we don't even realize, similar to when we talk. I'll go back to the financial analogy. Like when you get someone who understands finances and they look at, this one credit card is draining like $100 out of your bank account for no reason every month. Like, did you not realize that? Like, we need to clean that up. So the same thing for the movement side of things here. We are coming at it with, we're coming at it with, let's clean up your bedroom. Let's set it up so there's less lights. Let's set it up so the temperature is the right way. You're leaving money on the table. And again, you're sleeping 7 hours a night or what have you, but can we make that 7 hours even better? So I use the Whoop here, and it gives me a sleep score. And for those not familiar, it's tracking and there's many ways to track your sleep. I really like their algorithms and the way they figure stuff out. But at the end of the day, again, if my sleep score is at 72% consistently, and then I change something, whether I'm taking magnesium or I'm taking a specific type of magnesium or I'm doing breathing exercises right before, and my sleep score now goes up to 75% or 80%, that's just money on the table. And again, when we think about that, even if it's a small thing on the face of it, 7% every night for a full month, that adds up significantly, or for a year. Those are the things that I get caught up in and excited about. And I say, like, yeah, if we just change these little things, like just stop eating that one thing that's causing you to continue to be inflamed, or continuing on the face of it till we talk about, let's circle it back to pain. When we talk about food stuff, which I work with a lot of people on too, is it's like, my shoulder hurts. I understand that concept to some extent. And what do I do about it? Now I'm asking Dr. Matthew Perry to fix it, or what have you. When it comes to food, like, we have that same capacity. It's just trickier of saying, hey, when I have Indian food, like, that doesn't end well for me. So how do I put those pieces together of saying, again, when I do push-ups, my shoulder hurts the next day. We need to have somebody, whether it's a team or again, a clinician, to be able to say, like, yeah, let's take a step back. You're busy. You have 2 kids. You have a full-time job. Like, let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me educate you and give you the confidence, give you the tools that we need to get you more, again, confident in your own body, and be able to say, okay, cool. Like, I'm taking care of all these little things. Just like with my car, I don't know how to maintain my car. I just know every 6,000 miles, I'm going to go take it to the shop. And say, do what you got to do. And they'll say, oh, your brake pads are a little low. Do you want us to put new brake pads on? Okay, cool. Like, what's that going to cost? Okay, here. Like, I trust you, mechanic, Subaru, whatever. So yeah. Cool, man. Any closing thoughts?
Nah, man, you kind of hit the nail on the head. Several nails on several heads.
Nails,
yeah, man. With pain, last kind of little nugget. And imaging and all that kind of stuff. The big thing, and you said it, we can't correlate our pain to that imaging, to a static image. We can't jump to those conclusions just because it does make logical sense, but logical sense and anatomical sense and biological sense are completely different things.
Yeah.
So that's it.
And the research that I'm familiar with there is 72% of asymptomatic folks. So if you grabbed 100 people on the street, and you did imaging of them, they had no pain upon imaging. 72% of them would have some kind of disc herniation, disc degeneration, and you show those images to orthopedic surgeons, and this has been done in the research, and they show them the MRI, the X-ray, what have you. And the surgeon's like, yeah, I need to operate on that. And again, they're like, after the fact, they're like, well, that person has no pain. So, why are you operating on that person? And again, it's our system. It's people trying to do the right thing and being taught. And it's these things where we're falling into these like gaps of thinking. And it's hard to, again, get everyone on the same page. And again, it's hard to, like I was starting to say, when I'm looking at other people's blogs or things like that, it's saying, like, why are more people not pushing, again, physical therapy or a movement specialist? Even if it's a personal trainer, I think personal trainers get a little tricky because there's very little regulation in that system. But if you have a licensed physical therapist who has some expert in working with sports, orthopedics, like, they should know what they're doing. And that should be at least a minimum of saying, like, before we talk about your back pain, let's make sure, whether it's with the team, and again, I'm all for it. Again, one thing that I get very often is, hey, can you do the same, spinal adjustment that a chiropractor does? And poppity pops, we can do it, but we do it for different reasons. And I think, again, maybe there's all sorts of marketing and stuff like that we can talk about. But coming back to all this, we talked about being educators and things like that. I'm going to bring myself off my own rant and ramble. Coming back to your statement of, we want to put ourselves out of business. That's what I titled this episode on the thing going into it. So I want you to drill on that a little bit, because again, I think what is it 1 year of working with us that you think that people are like, depending on where they're coming from, I guess, but how much knowledge and things like that they have around the body. But we want to be able to empower them to say, come back to me for some maintenance, but at the same time, like, you shouldn't need to see me every time you have back pain. Like, do some self-care, do some self-management. And when it gets to this threshold, maybe we need to have more of a conversation. But yeah, how do you feel about that being a mission, putting ourselves out of business?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'm fortunate enough in my practice, I'm averaging for an acute bout of typically back pain, getting people better to where they're not having the pain anymore in, 6 to 8 sessions, right? So this isn't a blanket for everybody. It's different. So don't, nail me the cross or anything, on that. But the continuity stuff, I have people I've been working with for years, you know, um, you know, uh, at 1.5 years, I think maybe 2 years for one of my longest people, who I see, once a month, a couple times a month just to check in, but that guy is 78 years old.
Mm,
That guy hiked Mount Baker last year.
mm,
That guy hiked Mount Kilimanjaro the year before that.
noise.
Right, so he's doing some significant stuff, and he values, you know being healthy and moving optimally, because like you said, Bo, I mean, like, you're either getting, you're trying to see us so you don't have to go into the healthcare system and get
Right,
lost, right?
right,
Let's call it injury insurance. I'm not an insurance agent.
right, right.
Injury insurance, right? Trying to make sure that you don't get that injury.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And yeah, the language we've used in the past, preventative services, not very sexy, but that is what it is working with us now. And again, it's always a little down to the nuts and bolts or the numbers of saying, if you pay me $3,000 over the next 6 months and I work with you one on one, whether it's virtual or in person, or more than that or less than that or whatever, but let's say that's the number. $3,000 for someone might be a lot, but for some people it's not that much. People pay that for a triathlon. They pay that for one bicycle, and that bicycle is only used like 3 times a year or what have you. So in terms of numbers, what is that worth to you? And I think generally we undercharge in our profession as PTs based on what we're able to provide. And I talked with a friend of mine who's in human resources, and I say, hey, like, if I can help one of your 400 employees prevent a surgery, that's going to save you as a company at least $50,000 plus the time lost. And again, there's all sorts of calculations. Again, if Matt here is he's able to produce $100,000 worth of widgets in a month or a year, whatever it is. Like, if I can save that time lost, like, why would you not pay me? Like, the numbers are there. It's mind-boggling that we accept so many of these things of, again, it's just common for me to feel knee pain. It's total knee replacement. Like, 7 of my friends who are 45 already had knee replacements. It's just a normal part of aging, and I think that's what we're trying to fight against, of saying it doesn't have to be. We can push it way further back. Again, 78-year-old going to climb Kilimanjaro, like, why not? We have the capacity to do these things. It's just putting the pieces together and saying, again, give me the $3,000, not to be capitalistic or selfish or whatever, but like, that's what I'm here for, to help you be able to climb that mountain. And so anyway,
It's an investment, right? It's not
yeah,
buying a new TV or a new car, right? A new car depreciates the second it gets off the lot,
right.
right? It's an investment into your future, into your health and well-being, and we all need to, really should be valuing that more.
For sure. And that's one other way that even when it comes to that chiropractic adjustment question, I show folks how to create some of those adjustments themselves, how to, you can realign your pelvis yourself by doing these muscle energy techniques and all these little things. So you don't need, again, to come to, oh man, my hip's really bugging me. Like, can you give me a quick pop? It's like, no, just jump on the floor. You have the capacity.
Do your exercises. Yeah, do
Yeah.
your exercises. And if it gets worse than whatever out of 10 or whatever the case
Right.
is, then you come see me. But you
Right.
should have the tools. If I feel like I'm doing my job right, you should now have the tools to treat yourself for that specific body part by the end of our time together, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and you said the invest in your body. That's been a main theme of mine. I'm actually sending out my newsletter today. If anyone wants to sign up, there should be a link somewhere, but on all my channels and links and all that. But yeah, investing, and I'm going to make some jokes over to GameStop and all that. But investing in your body really is, all jokes aside, we only get one body. It's, I was also recently reflecting on what it is that drives me. And my father died of a heart attack at 41. I'm 37 now. Reflecting on all that and seeing growing up, like, that very much put into perspective people who die early, who are limited in capacity, become handicapped, and it's so preventable. To me, it became so clear, like, oh, like, if I don't drink and I don't smoke, like, to the extent that this person did, I can not have a heart attack at 41. Or if I, just participate in, things that are stretching out my knee in these different ways, like, that's going to help me avoid a total knee replacement. So it's all very preventable. Alzheimer's, diabetes, all these things are so preventable. It's a crazy, unfortunately, it's gotten, since I was a kid. I think I'm a little older than you, but I'm having my 20-year high school reunion this year, which might all be virtual. I don't know what they're doing for it yet, but the point is, in the last 20 years since I graduated high school and pursued this career, things have gotten worse. Surgeries have gone up. The medical system, the healthcare system, has gotten better, and they're able to, give us better surgeries and things like that. But at the end of the day, no, there's still no increased put on. If you do these types of things, you're less likely to have surgery. So, and a lot of that's just our minds, I think, of not, saying, again, do 5 minutes of this for the next month, and you're less likely to have a surgery. It's like, I don't want to do that 5 minutes. Just you guys have a pill for me, right? At the end of this thing. And so, I don't want to pick on human lizard brain, all that stuff, but it is what it is. And we're fighting that fight, man. We're going to keep fighting that good fight. So if you guys are in the San Diego area, go see Dr. Matthew Perry. If you're in SoCal, anywhere, go see the man himself. I'm no longer going to be in SoCal. I've announced this on my Facebook. I'm moving to Colorado in a few weeks. So I'll see you guys there. Excited for that move. It's a little stressful with all the packing and everything, but anyway.
I'm excited for you, man. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, I got to give you a few of my books, so I have a lighter load to take with us. But yeah, we'll connect with that. I'll drop it off after our quarantine here. And anything else for the folks? Where can they find you? Best places to find you, connect with you if they want.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, AutoNess Therapies. That's AUTO-NESS Therapies. Again, that's committed to your autonomy, happiness, and wellness. Please reach out if you found some value from this. I love interacting with people, love seeing how I can help and give you guys my 2 cents.
Awesome. And don't get him confused with the actor from Friends.
The other one, I'm way cooler.
Yeah. Chandler Bada Bing. Anyway. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.
Thanks for having me.